It doesn't mean because he's not playing a national anthem with no fans in the crowd that he's less patriotic. I just don't understand the reasoning to that. I think the national anthem means different things to different people. And obviously, the words of the national anthem can affect people differently because we've gone through this learning curve about it. So now the conversation needs to start. If it doesn't fit towards what you deem it to be, if you're the employer, do you have the right to do that?
Well, I would think you do. If it doesn't fit for you in what it is that you're looking for, right? If you're not comfortable with it, I think you should have the option to do what it is that you want to do. I mean, it's too many times no matter where you at, people try to force you to do something that you're not willing to do, which is ridiculous to me.
Adam Silver's in a really tough situation here. I'm going to look at this differently than you guys. You guys are looking at it from the actual micro. Should this happen before this? I'm going to look at it from a more macro situation. And this is where Silver's in a really difficult position. You got to think about it like this. When the NBA said we have to have 8 players to play in a game this year, I think most people felt like, oh, that must be a coronavirus rule. You got to have 8 guys. You got to have your G League guy ready. Everybody's dropping like flies, contact tracing. No. It's a long-standing NBA rule that if you don't have 8 players, this was put in the bylaws way before the coronavirus hit, that you cannot play in a game. You need to have 8 players. I think what Silver is doing is he's doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So in the bubble, he did all of the right things, right? The first thing he did when he got the job, Sterling's got to go. I don't care what's in there. It's the morally right thing to do. He's out. Guys want to protest Jacob Blake. That's absolutely right. It's a players' league. It's their league, and then I'm going to support them to the hilt.
But by the way, Zubin, I just want to jump in for 1 second. I'm sorry for interrupting, but it is also written in the bylaws of the CBA that you cannot protest the national anthem, right? Like they didn't, and that's something that wasn't in the bylaws of the CBA for the NFL. You didn't see players protest the national. They may have kneeled, right, in their way of doing it, but they didn't. They had to be on the court. They had to respect that, or they would be fined. Just wanted to preface that.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think what Silver is doing is saying, I'm going to interpret the rules the way I need to. I'm going to do this with Silver and Sterling. I know people will back me. And I'm going to do this with Jacob Blake because I know people will back me. But when I need to run to the rule book and say everybody needs to stand, I'm going to run to the rule book. I just think that he's a player's guy. People love him.
Yeah.
But I do think that either you're going to abide by the rules that are in the bylaws, or you're not. He's kind of in a murky area where he's sticking his finger up in the air, seeing which way the wind blows, and making those sorts of decisions. And that's partially why he's been liked so much. He has taken the players' input in. He's listening to the fans. He's by far the most popular commissioner of the 4. But I think he's in one of those situations where when he has to do something and the rule book says it and it aids him, he goes to it. And then sometimes he goes off the page. I think you have to be consistent in your actions.
So why did they not play it over the last several weeks or month or so since the NBA season started?
Yeah, I mean, that's a Cuban call, though, right? He essentially said that's a Cuban call.
Yeah, but nobody said anything, though. Nobody said anything.
13 games, Key.
13 games, nobody said nothing. Everything was fine, right? Nobody said anything. It wasn't that big of a deal.
What would you say to people that say Silver looks at what's going on with the leagues right now? He walks into his bathroom, opens up the toilet, and sees the ratings in there. And then he realizes what's going on. And maybe, what do you say to those people that say that this is a preemptive move to make sure? Because if I've been to an NBA game, you've been to a lot of NBA games. Crowd is 95% white at an NBA game. Almost any arena, maybe the Bay Area. Most arenas are full of white fans. And if there is a cultural flashpoint here, is there anything to the notion that Silver is saying, right now, we are in a really bad spot. Once the virus passes, fans will be back, ratings will go up, interest will be up, as Jay's mentioned a million times before. Interest on social is already through the roof, but to many mainstream people, it's not there. Let me set a preemptive strike to make sure that our core fans, our season ticket holders, those people that every year, no matter what, are plunking down thousands of dollars, no matter how bad the team is, 7 months before we play our next game when they get it in the mail, that those fans feel like this league is listening to them.
Well, I think that now you're trying to appease too many people.
That's what I'm saying with Silver. He's trying to go here and he's trying to go there. That's what I'm saying.
I know that's what you're saying, but I'm saying you're trying to appease too many people. If they don't want to watch the games and don't want to attend the games because you're not playing the national anthem, then maybe that's not for. Maybe basketball in the NBA is not for you. Maybe because you feel that way, maybe you should pick another sport to enjoy and watch. But what I would say to that in terms of ratings, I'd like to see the ratings over the last 10 years, the second half, after the All-Star break. Let me see what those ratings look like. Because when you're going up against the playoffs in football and all of those sort of things, your ratings are going to drop. Basketball season really does not get interested in to me until after the All-Star break, when it becomes a real playoff push. That's when I really dial in to watching as many games as possible on one night.
You see, Zubin, from a business perspective, I think Adam Silver did the right thing. I think that, hey, look, we have to mandate this because right now we have to keep. Also, don't forget that 20% of players' salaries are kept in escrow right now, right? So there's a lot of things that deem if the NBA, hence why we're having an All-Star game. A one-day event, even in the midst of a pandemic, even when the league has been very progressive about their stances and games have been postponed. This is also about revenue and making sure that it puts the players and the owners at the best possible position when the season is over and said and done to renegotiate CBAs moving forward and to continue to create revenue. But I also say this, one last thing, is that the point was made. The point wasn't about, hey, let's change this for the way this year is going to happen. The point was about having a conversation. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.